There we go. Welcome to the October 26, 2022 meeting of the Finance Executive Committee. I am Alex Wan. I am the chair. I'm joined by my colleagues to my right, Howard Shook, who's vice chair. To my left, Jason Dozier. And then to his left, Michael Julian Bond. And then Jason Winston has joined us as well. We officially constitute a quorum. This meeting is now officially called to order. First item is adoption of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt. We do have one walk-in, colleagues, and I learned from the parliamentarian that we don't have to formally amend the agenda next time since there is a section for walk-ins, but I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda from Dozier, second by Shook. Let's open that vote, please. We're also joined by Council President Doug Shipman, unless he's just walking through.
The vote is open.
Okay.
Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. The motion carries. The agenda is adopted. And I'll need a motion for the approval of the minutes. Second. Motion from Juan, second from Shook. Let's open that vote too, please.
The vote is open. The vote's closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion carries. The minutes have been approved. That next takes us to public comments. As a reminder to those that have signed up, you have an allocation of 3 minutes. You'll see a clock on the screens behind us. I'll ask that as the clock winds down to 0 that you see a clock on the screens. If you have written remarks and I'll ask that as the clock winds down to us afterwards. So with that, do we have anybody signed up? We do not. I went through all that for nothing. Okay. All right, that's good because that takes us right into presentations. We have 2 presentations today, colleagues. The first one is from Invest Atlanta. The second one will be from the Department of Procurement. I'll invite the Invest Atlanta team up to the podium while they are pulling up the presentation, which we have a copy of.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. My name is Melody Eccles. I'm with Invest Atlanta. I'm our assistant director of our American Rescue Plan programming. So happy to be here and give you an update on where we're at with our Resurgence Grant Fund. And I just wanted to start with a few bullets here. These bullets were pulled directly from the small business section of the city's One Atlanta Economic Mobility Strategy. And again, just the goal here is to support small businesses, particularly those in our disinvested neighborhoods as defined by the strategy. So just wanted to assure you all that our American Rescue Plan programming was designed with that goal in mind. And you'll see that throughout the presentation. And just wanted to thank you all for your commitment to serving small businesses, particularly those in the disinvested neighborhoods. So just a quick recap of the Resurgence Grant Fund. The Resurgence Grant Fund is a program to distribute federal grants to small businesses and nonprofits located within the city. We had the first round of the Resurgence Grant Fund back in 2020. It utilized CARES Act funding, and we had some lessons learned from the first round that you'll see throughout the presentation as well. But the second round of the Resurgence Grant Fund is utilizing American Rescue Plan Act dollars. And just want to emphasize here that the funding is coming from U.S. Department of Treasury, so we have strict regulations and compliance that we need to maintain. So you'll see those checks and balances throughout the design of the program. So this is just kind of a timeline of the program from start to where we are now. We officially announced the relaunch of the program back in February of this year, and we opened up applications on March 1st. The application was, and the initial deadline of the application was April 29th, but we extended it for an additional month, and they officially closed on May 27th. We announced awards at the end of August, and we started distributing funds in September. And we're continuing to distribute those funds and execute grant agreements until all funds have been depleted. And I want to take a few minutes to talk about our community outreach strategy for this program. We had a comprehensive community outreach approach. We had it with equity in mind. This was our first lesson learned from the first round of the Resurgence Grant Fund using the CARES Act. We did a lot of investment in billboards and bus stops, banners, things of that nature to advertise the program. And then after the fact, we issued out a survey to our grant recipients and asked them how they heard about us, how they heard about the program, and the majority of them said social media. So this round we had a pretty heavy social media campaign. However, we recognize that there's a large number of business owners that we wouldn't be able to reach solely by social media, and we acknowledge that we need to meet businesses where they are. So we hit the ground, we canvassed businesses handing out postcards individually. We visited over 1,200 businesses handing out postcards. And for those businesses that we couldn't reach by foot, we sent them a postcard in the mail to every registered business within the City of Atlanta. So whether it was through the canvassing team or social media or the postcards, the goal was to ensure that any potential applicant had an opportunity to apply and was aware of the program. We also utilized our chat feature online pretty heavily. We had more than 300 online chats. We have some staff at Invest Atlanta just readily available to answer questions as they come in. And we had a pretty quick response time, under 20 seconds, to respond to those. So it was really effective in just getting those quick questions answered, pointing applicants in the right direction throughout the process. And our outreach worked. As you can see by these numbers, we had close to 2,500 applications submitted. We had applications from all across Metro Atlanta, past Tucker, past Douglasville, all the way down towards McDonough and Macon. It was pretty widespread. The word got out. Everyone knew about this program. Of course, we're only focused on the businesses within city limits. So of those, it was just over 2,100 applications submitted from businesses located within city limits. So the demographics that you see on the right-hand side of this slide just include only those within City of Atlanta limits. So you can see here the vast majority, 10 employees or less, over half women-owned, the majority minority-owned businesses. So it just kind of gives a picture of where the need lies within our small business community. And this is just a visual representation of that. You can just see the widespread outreach here. In a quick figure, it was just over 87% of applicants located within city limits. And this is the projected award breakdown demographics as of now. As I mentioned, we're still executing grant agreements and still distributing funds. This is data as of October 5th. So we'll have updated data once all the funds have been depleted, and we'll be happy to share that at that time. But as of October 5th, there were 529 applications approved. You can see the average award amount, average business size, and just some demographics. Again, the vast majority minority-owned, 76% Black-owned. Over half are located in those disinvested neighborhoods, as defined by the Economic Mobility Strategy. Over half women-owned and 6% veteran-owned. And before I get through the process of the review and how the review process went, I just want to take a minute to note that we, again, another lesson learned from the first round of the Resurgence program, we knew it was going to take a team solely dedicated to this project to make it work efficiently. So we had 10 contractors at the launch of the application, solely dedicated to reviewing these applications. Once we started to see the volume of applications coming in, we did some quick math. With the 10 contractors we had on staff, it was going to take them 6 months just to do the initial review of the applications, not the entire review, just their first initial review. And we wanted to make sure that we could get money in the hands of the business owners as quickly and efficiently as possible. So we brought in an additional 11 and had 21 contractors solely dedicated to reviewing applications. So how the process worked was an application was submitted and it would go into a processor review. The processor review is where one of those 21 contractors would review the application for, number one, eligibility per our guidelines, but also reviewing the documents to ensure that they're verifiable and correct. So in the event that an applicant would submit a document that maybe was missing a notary stamp or a signature was in a wrong place or something of that nature, the processor would reach out directly to the applicant, give them the opportunity to make those corrections so that they have a full application. Once the processor has determined that the applicant is eligible, the documents are verifiable, it then goes into the manager review stage, which is essentially the same review, just at a manager level, a second set of eyes on the application to ensure that nothing was missed by the processor. And then once the application was determined eligible, it was scored by an external scoring committee. We had a fully external scoring committee comprised of 59 local volunteers who are focused on supporting small businesses, nonprofits, and even the arts community. We had volunteers from Georgia Tech, Community Foundation, Central Atlanta Progress, SCAD, the Gathering Spot. So a really diverse group of local volunteers. And then those top scored applications then went into a pretty extensive receipt review. Because this is a reimbursable grant, we had to ensure that all submitted expenses that the applicant was requesting reimbursement for were eligible per Treasury guidelines and verifiable per Treasury guidelines. And I would say our checks and balances worked. It was a careful but efficient process, I would say. We did identify 1.6% of those eligible applicants that were either potential identity fraud, they had fraudulent business licenses, or they had suspicious documentation in their application. We also identified 357 ineligible applicants. This includes the businesses that are outside of city limits, but it also includes businesses that were ineligible for some other reason, whether they were corporate-owned franchise, had over 250 employees, or hit one of those criteria points that made them ineligible for our program. And I just wanted to share this. We are conducting a survey for applicants just to get some feedback, really focused on customer service, and we're always looking to improve our programs and improve our customer service. This is the very early stages. We have 65 respondents that comprise a summary right now, but we're continuing to get feedback, and we'll have updated data as that feedback comes in, and looking forward to reviewing that. But as of now, we have a over 61 Net Promoter Score, which is considered excellent for this metric. Net Promoter Score is a pretty standard practice metric to determine a customer's satisfaction level overall with their experience. And then we also have a 4.2 out of 5 satisfaction score. And this I just wanted to share because this is our why. This is why we do this work. I won't read through it. These are narratives that either came through the survey or they were emails directly to one of our team members. And it's important to see that the impact that this is making on our small business community. So again, just wanted to thank you all for your support and for your commitment to serving our small businesses. And of course, there's several ways to reach us. So for y'all or anyone tuning in, if you want to speak to someone, we're available by email, phone. The live chat feature, as I mentioned, is online. That phone number goes directly to one of our application processors if you have a question. Same with the email, resurgence@investatlanta.com. Our website, we've also posted this information, the process. We've also posted the scoring matrix if you would like to review that or have any questions about that. I think that is it. And happy to answer any questions.
All right, I'll entertain questions now from my colleagues. The chair reluctantly acknowledges Jason Dozier, who should have had his questions answered at his Invest Atlanta board meeting.
Yes, I was chastised before this meeting, told I was not allowed to ask questions since I spent so much time with the Invest Atlanta team. So I actually don't have any questions, but I do have 2 comments. The first comment is something that I just want to make sure you and the rest of your team is aware of. Applications were coming in. I got a lot of feedback from community members who are parts of nonprofit groups who are applying for this for the grant, and ran into some roadblocks because as part of their application, they were required to have I believe, a certificate of good standing or something along those lines provided by the city of Atlanta. And I'm not sure the city's infrastructure was ready to receive those applications in that scale. And so as we have future grant opportunities, if there's opportunities to better collaborate with the city so that the city side can better receive and address that particular administrative hurdle so that doesn't become an issue. I just wanted to flag that and raise that since that was an issue that...
No, absolutely, and I can share that I had to kind of help some nonprofit applicants along the way as well as the rest of the team. This was the first round we weren't able to grant out to nonprofits, so this was kind of new for us, so kind of a learning curve for us as well. I'm confident that we were able to help those applicants that did reach out, but absolutely moving forward for programs that are available to nonprofits, I think better collaboration with the city's office would be, we'll definitely do that.
No worries, and I appreciate that. My final comment is I was a little disappointed because there was a data set shared at the Invest Atlanta meeting last week that really told a remarkable story about how this process move forward that wasn't included in this presentation, and I hope you will indulge the board and share that information, send it an email, but also just for the committee's awareness. If y'all remember, there were a couple of different application cycles that we had. We had, I think, 3, and there was a recognition in the first application cycle that a lot of the folks applying for this grant were largely in Northeast Atlanta and Buckhead and Virginia Highlands and East Atlanta Village. And just in recognition of that, your diversity, equity, inclusion team worked with Eloise and the rest of the team to make sure that we had additional application cycles. So for each application cycle, you could see that where those businesses were located shifting towards Southwest Atlanta. And so even though you have, I think on slide, I can't see a page number, but there's an application distribution map, you see, when we look at it in the terms of where those dots are per application cycle, you see that shift. And I think it was a remarkable story. I think it was remarkable that y'all had the data that showed the work that y'all are doing. And I just appreciate Invest Atlanta and all your team members for your attention to detail on that, because it's something that I know this mayor and this council is laser focused on, trying to make sure that Atlanta is, we're talking the talk, but making sure that we're walking the walk. And I think y'all did a good job of making sure that happens.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. And I agree. I think that presentation should be shared, so we can absolutely do that, and we can maybe even, schedule to present it here at a committee for sure. It's great data. We have a great data team that is able to visually display the work we're doing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, and that's all I have. Great job, y'all.
Thank you, Councilmember Dozier. We've also been joined by Councilmember Bakhtiari, who now has the floor.
I just wanted to, really just a comment just to say thank you. I know that after you presented not that long ago, I'm losing track of which committees, that I know that I asked for a list of all the businesses that applied in my district. I wanted to also, we're going to talk about this more. I think we're in the process of scheduling a meeting, but want to find out how many businesses we actually have in the districts, because I think it's my job I think it's each of our jobs to find out which businesses are succeeding and which ones need additional help, because it shouldn't be just on you to send out these postcards. And, obviously I want to know that because I'm also concerned not just about my district, but like the most southern part of 12 and other parts, to see how we can help other council members. Yeah. Lives don't end at district lines, and we should be thinking about others, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I want to make sure you finish.
Sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to share with you the applications that were received, and once we are finished dispersing all the funds, we can then share the final data of these are the businesses that were awarded, these were not, and we can do that per any district, so happy to do that for any council member who would like to see that.
And real quick, I know I've asked you this before, but I've already forgotten because my memory has rapidly deteriorated since I've started this job. But that's why I have to reintroduce myself to Howard every day. But it's okay. My question is, the minority and the women-owned businesses, the women-owned businesses, does that factor it into the minority as well?
It is not.
Okay.
The minority is just race, ethnicity.
Got it. Do we have any data on any LGBTQIA plus owned businesses or no?
Not.
Okay. Is that something we can work on in the future?
Yes, absolutely, we can. We did in the gender portion of it, we did include transgender, non-binary,
Got it.
Non-conforming. But yeah, we can definitely work to expand on how to better capture that data.
And I'm guessing just folks didn't really respond to that portion.
Folks did. I didn't report it in here, but I can share those numbers with you.
Yeah, I would love that. But yeah, those are my main questions. And I know that we're scheduling a meeting, and I just want to say that I'm super grateful for the responsiveness and the help, and also looking forward to utilizing my office to better assist and amplify what y'all are doing. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Other questions? I'll add my thanks and appreciation for the work. The other thing I will just kind of encourage y'all to do is that let's not look at this as a one and done, that hopefully that both for the folks that may not have been successful in receiving funds, as well as those that did, that we continue to find other programs that might support them, because they might need additional help to make sure that they stay viable and successful. So,
yeah, no, I appreciate that. We are working on that. So thank you.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Up next, we have the Department of Procurement quarterly update. And this actually will be his kind of first 90-day report. Colleagues, you have a copy of the presentation. And what was that? Yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's a lot. But Ms. Manjumdar, I would just ask that you try and move quickly through it so that we can open it for questions as soon as possible. But there's a lot of good stuff in here, so I look forward to your comments. You have the floor.
Thank you. Respected Chair, respected council members, and Honorable President, Mr. Shipman. This is my first update as the leader for Department of Procurement. And what we have done is actually have divided the presentation in three parts. The first one will talk about the current state of the organization. The second piece will talk about the transformation plan and the changes that we have implemented to make sure that all the processes that we have are transparent, fair, and ethical. And the third piece is looking forward, what are the changes that are going to come down the pipeline. So from the content perspective, I basically gave an overview of what we want to cover. So one of the things that we did was we wanted to define who we are, what we do. So along those lines, we wanted to create a vision statement. Our vision statement is excellence in value creation through partnership, collaboration, and innovation. And I stress on the word value creation because we want to be a value creator. We want to be a value-based organization. And we can only create those values through partnership, through collaboration, and through innovation. So keeping that in mind, we had one goal in mind, which is one team, one approach, and one outcome. And when you take a look at what we came up with, the core values, it's A, B, C, D, E. A means act on the opportunity. B means be bold in addressing those opportunities. C means be committed towards the opportunity. D is be decisive. And E is ethical and engaged. So when you talk to anyone in Department of Procurement, it is A, B, C, D, E. And clearly that then translates into a goal. We wanted to create a value-based, high-performing procurement organization that transacts business with integrity using a simplified and transparent process by promoting women and diverse supply in our community. So coming on to the next slide, this will give you an idea of the current state of the organization. Through January through August, we had 138 procurement activities. On the bottom left, it has all the user agencies that that was engaged for all the procurement activities. Now, this is a classic example of an 80-20 rule. 20% of my user agencies constituted 80% of my work. And that helps us to recalibrate and reposition our teams. Rather than having the team spread out across all the business units, now we exactly know, which are the key areas that we need to focus on. So this gave us a very good idea of how we are going to transform the organization and calibrate the organization according to the work that we handle. And on the right-hand side, what we have done is we have further broken that out into the types of procurement. So in other words, how many of those are RFP, how many of those are sole source, special procurement, emergency, co-op, and IFBs. So, and furthermore, we even dissected each one of those activities by user agencies. Now, I love this report. It took us a while to get here, but we are in the process of automating this through Oracle system. So at any point of day, you need a report like this, we should be able to pull this data. Moving on to the next slide, this is about the goods procurement. If you take a look at this, we also have a similar situation where few of the user agencies constitute a bulk of our activity, and we broke it down by IFB, sole source, special procurement, and co-op and emergency. We also factored in renewals because in the goods procurement area, we go through the cycle of renewing the contract and making sure that the contract is active for any POs that come through. The next slide is something that I'm very proud of. When I joined the organization 90 days back, or maybe 100 days, almost three and a half months back, we had aging projects. We had projects over a year. We had projects over 2 years. We had 55 projects, RFP, competitive bid projects that were outstanding. Today, I'm very proud to say we are down to 0. Last week, we were down to 2. And then this week, we took the time to even further reduce it down to 0. And you can see on the right-hand side, it breaks down by which agency had how many projects outstanding. And the bottom box actually tells you that those are the 4 that we addressed in the last week or so. The next few slides, I'm going to talk about the transformation journey. It's a highway that we have taken, and we know where the exits are also. Having said that, I do want to recognize different departments within City of Atlanta that has helped through the transformation process. The Chief Operating Officer's Office, which includes the OCC, Law, Communication, Department of Aviation, Risk, Finance, all of those have actually worked with us to create this transformation journey and help us through the transformation. So big thank you to everyone, all the departments that have helped us till this day and are helping us in future. Moving on to the next slide, when we mapped out the transformation, we had 5 key objectives in mind. The first objective was to reset the baseline, which means fix broken processes, bridge gaps, and do a lot of cleanup activity. We had huge amount of cleanup that had to be done. We had a huge opportunity to fix broken processes, and that is where we took the time to reset the baseline. The second idea was to implement best-in-class procurement process, tools, and infrastructure. In the subsequent slides, you will see how we have defined a good sourcing process and an end-to-end procurement process. Increase supplier participation by breaking down barriers for suppliers to do business with City of Atlanta, and that goes to the point of creating open, fair competition for all the RFPs and for all the procurement that we do. The fourth piece, which is critical, and we should always use this in today's environment, we need to leverage the technology that we have and that is present to drive efficiency and productivity in whatever we do. And the fifth one is we want to position this organization for future that can fluctuate up and down with the work and can deliver the 21st century solution for the City of Atlanta, for the residents, and for all the businesses within City of Atlanta. So one of the first things that I did was I took some time in evaluating the current state of the organization, and I came up with a 360-day roadmap. The 360-day roadmap is broken down in 4 tranches. The first 90 days, second 90 days, third 90 days, and the fourth 90 days. And the entire transformation is circled around 3 Ps, which is people, process, and the product. So in the first 90 days, we had to focus very heavily on the process because the process was broken. We need to reset the baseline. So we focused on the process and we rolled out new procurement process and tools. The second piece is where we talk about the people. We are transforming the organization. We are recalibrating the way we do business, and we are going to roll out a category management model, and that is going to be effective, or that is going to be rolled out in the November-December timeframe. And when that happens, we will have all the procurement activities by category. So construction being one category, professional services, IT being another category, industrial and fleet services being another category. So we have identified 6 categories that will be driving the entire procurement organization. Category management model is the best-in-class model that's used by world-class procurement organization. It creates efficiency, it creates productivity, it eliminates duplication of work, and it creates the best value for the procurement organization. So we have the category management model that'll be there. We will also have a center of excellence team that will be fueling the procurement, the category management model. And the center of excellence model will focus on people, process, product, and the technology. So they will have training under them, they will have process improvements under them, they will have supplier management under them, they will have technology, they will have media, social outreach, supplier outreach, everything under them that will help us drive the procurement, the category management model. The third tranche, which is going to be started, which will start in January, February timeframe, is enhancements to the Oracle systems so that we can make sure that all the procurement activities that we are